I'd like to call to order tonight's Plan and Zone meeting, November 30th. Appreciate everybody being here. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We should be able to move through these pretty quickly tonight. We'll start off with our regular meeting in that we do not have any public hearing agenda tonight. We'll start off with roll call, please. Commissioner Tallman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Schneider.
Here.
Lammers.
Present.
Johnson.
Here.
Tallman here. Ingram.
Present.
Hepner.
Here.
Ransgard.
Here.
Reinhardt and Manus are excused. Garrington.
Here.
Stelk.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Tallman. Moving on to report of City Council activity. Laura?
So last Tuesday, City Council did approve both the zoning text changes and the rezoning for City Center around the mall. So that's official. The next step is for the ordinance to be published in the Quad City Times, which is scheduled for December 2nd, and then that zoning text change will be official.
Thank you. Secretary's report.
Move the report.
Second.
All those in favor of the Secretary's report as printed signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, it will stay as printed. Anything in comp plan, Laura?
Not yet, but there might be some things coming up in the near future.
Look forward to that. We do not have any zoning activity. We do have 3 items of subdivision, 1 old and 2 new. Commissioner Schneider.
Okay. The first piece of business is case P21-05, request of Beckett Place Development, LLC, on behalf of Glenn and Kathleen Moeller for a preliminary plat of Beckett Place for a 51-lot subdivision on 25.8 acres located south of Veterans Memorial Parkway and east of Interstate 74. Staff recommends the Planning and Zoning Commission accept the listed findings and forward case F21-4, which one? I think I have that out of order here. Anyway, I recommend case P21-05 according to the list of findings. And I so move.
Second.
Case P21-05 has been moved and seconded for discussion. Laura?
Thank you. Before you, highlighted in yellow is the subject property up for the subdivision. This is at the southeast corner of the Interstate 74 and Veterans Memorial. It is zoned R2, which is single and 2 family residential. And according to our future land use map, it is designated as residential general. So the uses are permitted as proposed. So if you recall, this had come before the commission once before. It didn't meet the subdivision code. Since then, the developer has resubmitted it to meet those subdivision codes. So as you can see, along Whispering Pines, which is the cul-de-sac kind of bump out on the east side of the subdivision, now connects east-west to Thomas Point. We still support a variance waiver for what is Madeline Court on the west side of the detention pond, even though it exceeds the cul-de-sac length due to safety concerns and topography concerns. So there's the cul-de-sac exceeding that length. As I stated, in addition to our normal findings, we do think a warranted due to a variance to section 16.24.040C is warranted due to topographical challenges and safety concerns. There's a total of 13 conditions related to this plat. Really, the largest ones of note is to remove the island on Madeline Court. The size of that cul-de-sac has shrunk. So it's more of a snow removal maintenance problem to have the kind of island in the middle of the cul-de-sac. And then there's some general line areas that need to be accommodated. Also, there is a proposed, what we call a hammerhead in the middle of Madeline Court. and that was extended as right-of-way. We have stated that we want it to remain a 50-foot wide right-of-way there. The city does not want responsibility for maintaining that hammerhead and enforcing no parking there. Fire department does not need that to turn around vehicles. And then there's some standard labeling of easements, and all of easements need to be at least 15 feet wide. There are some instances where they're not that wide yet. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Laura. Commissioners, any questions at this time? Commissioner Lammers.
On number 6, on-street parking shall be limited to one sign. I thought there was conversation about making the width of the streets 31 feet so that there would be two-side parking. What happened to that?
So it is above the standards in the subdivision code, and the developer has elected not to widen the road. So that is staying in there. In order to accommodate two-way traffic, parking would be limited to one side of the street since it's not 31.
Okay, I was confused. I thought the developer was the one that stated that their plan was to widen that.
Oh, that was a different plat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any additional questions right now? Seeing none, would the developer petitioner like to step forward and discuss his project? I would take that as a no. Commissioners, any questions of the petitioner at this time? Commissioner Tallman?
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's not really a question, just a quick comment. I want to just commend staff and the applicant for being able to get together and negotiate this outcome. I think it's a neat piece of property. I think it's going to lay out really nice, and I think it's going to be a great addition to the city. So good job on both ends.
Thank you, Commissioner Tallman. Any other comments or questions before we take this to vote? Seeing none, roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Come here. Sorry, I totally overlooked the crowd. I thought you were here for one of the later petitions. Would you like to speak in favor or opposition? Please identify yourself, and
Yes, sir.
I apologize.
Thanks,
for that.
Chairman Ingram. I'm Steve Cox with my wife Linda. We live in the adjoining subdivision at Lake Meadows subdivision adjoining the proposed Beckett Place. And our address is at 3720 Kathleen Way in Davenport. I spoke at the last meeting and raised a few questions you may recall. One of them being the road width, traffic congestion, design consistency, and drainage impacts. And I once again would just like to maybe give some feedback to the committee based on the revised plat, and how does that affect us, and did we really get our asks, if you will, addressed in that review. I'd say first off in traffic, as Ms. Lammers already identified, the 31-foot roadway is a major concern. Thomas Point Road, Whispering Pines, Gabrielle, and Kathleen Way are all 31 feet in width. Currently, Whispering Pines is in effect a cul-de-sac, or is a dead-end road. Lakehurst Drive on the far west side of the development is 35 feet wide. The right-of-way for all of these is 50 feet. 50 feet is the overall right-of-way for the subdivision as well. The difference being the 27-foot roadway is a through street. It's an extension of Thomas Point, and it's not a cul-de-sac. It is a through road, thereby meeting, I suppose, the minimum code requirements that are in the code. Certainly, there is a reference of 27 feet, and it does meet that. But I also contend that all of the surrounding neighborhood roadways are 31 feet or more, in the case of Lakehurst, 35 feet wide. So I would ask the committee to, if it's possible, to require that the 31 feet width way, curb to curb, be a requirement in addition to what's already been proposed by the city staff. I think that's a key traffic issue. I took the liberty last night, just after dark, to walk the neighborhood. One of the advantages of being free and retired. And there was a lot of activity in the neighborhood. Kids are playing, basketballs are being used. There's a lot of family activity in the area. And it just really concerns me when we're adding significant density in the number of homes in this area compared to what the existing neighborhood is. And then we are narrowing a street for just that segment of the street that's affecting this development. It just doesn't seem consistent to me. I think enough said. Oh, the other item on the street, I did note with the variances as they were addressed in the addition of the new street coming off of Whispering Pines from the pseudo cul-de-sac. That's 27 feet, that's probably fine. But I also noted that the sidewalks going on and across the street, there are no crosswalks and there's no ADA accommodations for those crossways. And the ADA accommodation that was noted in the previous design had a ADA crossway to the walkway that went around the detention pond or to the detention pond. That's been eliminated. And I think that's, once again, something that should be evaluated, and we should be promoting ADA accessibility in all those cases. Next point is design consistency. Once again, 52 lots became 51. I made the comment last time that it's 25% less dense, more dense than the existing neighborhood. If we take that 25% number, magically there would be 39 to 40 lots in that area if it was similar to what the rest of the neighborhood was. I don't know what we can do with that. I don't think there's any code that says there's a violation here, but it's certainly the density is being increased in this particular area. Then lastly, the drainage impacts. Realizing that this is a preliminary plan, there were accommodations for collection basins and so on in the drainage information that was provided on the preliminary plat. We live along the southeast border. We get a lot of water in storm conditions from that property, and there's nothing addressing that in this plan. But there is a requirement for additional calculations for stormwater management, and I believe that can be addressed at that time, but I call it out as an issue. It's not shown on the plan today, and it definitely is a problem as we speak today. So I guess that's everything I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hepner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sir, when you were on your walk last night, did you see traffic or cars parked on both sides of the street?
When you went on your walk last night, did you see traffic on both sides of the street? Were people parked? Is that what?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, the other advantage is if we have 31 feet, we can have parking on both sides, which is, again, another advantage.
But my question, sir,
When I
did you see?
when I was on the walk, did I see cars passing and having cars parked on both sides? It's very tight. Typically, if you have cars parked on both sides of the street today at 31 feet, somebody has to stop and allow the oncoming traffic to get by. I mean, even at 31 feet, it's not an easy passage of traffic going back and forth. And I think it bears noting with 52 lots or 51 lots, that's 100 more cars or 75 more cars being added to the neighborhood. It's that much more traffic being pressured, not only on the new streets being added, but existing streets are going to be affected as well.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
The developer is here.
Yes.
Sir, what's the rationale? Why would you not do a 31-foot wide street there instead of a 27-foot street? Just out of
Could one of you
curiosity.
please step up to the podium?
Yes, sir. Well, the 27-foot street slows the traffic down. The 31-foot increases the clear zone, and therefore the traffic speeds up. So that's the rationale behind it, is slowing traffic down, not speeding it up.
Okay. Thank you.
Any additional questions at this time? Commissioner Lammers.
Laura, on the parts that he said were missing from the preliminary, could you address that? Is there a reason for that, or will we see that on the final?
So related to the ADA crosswalks, preliminary usually shows a tiny bit more detail in terms of road layout. Final, you won't see a roadway within the right-of-way. We would review it when it comes to civil plans, and that would be, because that's a federal requirement to have the ADA intersections, so that would be something that would be required as part of the civil plan. Related to stormwater, this is still a preliminary, so they're still reviewing their grading plan, and if they need to do some drainage easements to move water, they can do that, and it would show up on the final plat. They could also use some underground infrastructure to move that water as well, but they would be required. They cannot push water onto somebody else's property. They don't necessarily need to detain it on their property. They just need to be able to move the water through.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Final call. Laura, did you have any additional comments? Thank you. Roll call, please. Commissioner Tallman?
Schneider,
Yes.
Lammers,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Tallman, yes. Hepner,
Yes.
Bransgard,
Yes.
Garrington,
Yes.
Stelk. Motion carries.
Okay, our next piece of new business is C 21-15, request of Blackwell Properties, Inc. on behalf of JJO LLC for a final plat of Cheddar Second Edition for a two-lot subdivision on 4.43 acres located at 1235 and 1423 East Kimberly Road. Staff recommends that Planning and Zoning Commission accept the listed findings and forward case F 21-15 to the City Council with a recommendation for approval, subject to the listed conditions, and I so move.
Case F 21-15 has been moved and seconded for discussion. Matt?
Okay, so shown before you, highlighted in yellow is the subject site. So it currently consists of two separate parcels. So it's located south of Kimberly Road and then east of Bridge Avenue. So just to the west of the site is the Quick Star, and then to the right is an industrial building. So the purpose of the subdivision plat is to transfer the roughly half-acre portion of land at the southeast corner, which is currently shown as wooded and undeveloped in the aerial photo. So it'd be transferred from what is the Yummy Crab site over to the existing animal hospital. So that's going to be done to facilitate further expansion of the animal hospital. So both properties are zoned the same C2 zoning. There is residential directly south. So any development or expansion of building or parking lot on either site would require a landscape buffer to the south lot line. And then both properties are also zoned commercial corridor, and then they abut the residential general to the south. So shown in front of you is the final plat, transferring roughly that 0.53 acres, the southeast corner from one ownership to the other. The vet parcel is about 145 feet in width, so it'll just maintain that width all the way through to the south. So staff is recommending approval of the final plat, subject to the listed findings and conditions. So the plat is consistent with our comprehensive plan and prepares the area for future development. And then the plat with conditions is consistent with our subdivision ordinance. So the conditions are fairly standard. Just a couple of ones to point out. One would be to add the landscape buffer should any development occur along the south lot line where that C2 abuts residential. And then there's a couple of minor notes just pertaining to utility easements on the properties.
Thank you, Matt. Commissioners, have any questions at this time? Commissioner Lammers?
I'm just full of questions tonight.
Yes, you are.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I looked at number 8, and the word may bothers me because it's so subjective. When I looked at this case and the next case, you used the word shall, which is a pretty, definite requirement. And even though 8 is a future requirement, doesn't zoning require it? So shouldn't you be saying shall require instead of may require?
So I think we worded the language softer because it depends on the type of development they do and the ground disturbance levels. So stormwater regulations aren't triggered if it's under 5,000 square feet of land disturbance. So that's why the language is softer. When you have known quantities that will disturb more than that, which would be all residential subdivisions with road infrastructure being placed, then it's a shall. Because it's most definitely going to trigger that requirement.
So just from a legal standpoint, that's not a word that's going to cause controversy?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions at this time? Would the developer be present, like to speak? Seeing none? Final questions? Roll call, please, Commissioner Tallman.
Lammers,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Tallman, yes. Hepner,
Yes.
Bransgard,
Yes.
Garrington,
Yes.
Stelk, and Schneider.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, last piece of new business is case F21-16, request of Birchwood South LLC for a final plat of Birchwood South Second Edition for a 7-lot subdivision on 17.92 acres located at 4607 East 53rd Street. Staff recommends the Planning and Zoning Commission accept the listed findings and forward case F21-16 to the City Council with a recommendation for approval, subject to the listed conditions, and I so move.
Case F21-16 has been moved and seconded for discussion. Matt?
Mr. Chairman, I will be abstaining from this case, and
Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson will be handling the roll call.
Thank you, Commissioner Tallman. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Matt?
Sure, so this site will look familiar. The Plan and Zone Commission approved a 6-lot final plat for this area of land, which is just south of 53rd Street. The developer is coming back with a proposed 7-lot subdivision, so they're adding an extra lot, which would be to the east of the proposed Ravenwood Lane. And then some of the other lot lines are just slightly being modified to accommodate proposed developments on this property. So the site was rezoned earlier this year to C2 Corridor Commercial District, so that will remain the same. And then the future land use map was also revised at that time to regional commercial land use category. So on the screen is the proposed final plat. So that new lot is created what would be the southeast corner of 53rd and Ravenwood Lane. So that was one larger lot on the previous plat. So that lot has been added. There's been slight modifications to the lots in the middle, just adjusting width to accommodate proposed development. And then I believe it's lot 1, which is on the west side of the plat, just to the west of Lakeview Parkway. That lot has been given a little bit more depth. So some land has been transferred from the proposed outlot in that southwest corner and then added to lot 1 to accommodate development. So the two outlots remain for stormwater detention on the southwest and southeast corners of the site. The proposed roadway network will remain the same, so that has already been dedicated as right-of-way. So staff is recommending approval, subject to the listed findings and conditions. So our findings are pretty much the standard ones, so it conforms with our comprehensive plan and prepares the area for future development. And then it meets our requirements of our subdivision ordinance. So conditions are fairly standard. The sidewalk along East 53rd Street will be constructed as a 10-foot wide trail, so that continues over from the previous plat. And then access to Lot 5 from Ravenwood Lane shall be no closer to the East 53rd Street than the East 52nd Street intersection. So basically what that's trying to say is that the development of the property to the east of Ravenwood Lane, their driveway connection can be no closer to 53rd Street than the existing 52nd Street roadway. So that's to help us mitigate any traffic problems and congestion. And then condition number 5 is to provide an access easement along the south lot line in Lot 1 to provide greater access to the stormwater detention pond in that southwest corner.
Thank you, Matt. Commissioners, any questions at this time? Commissioner Lammers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know we're looking at the same area, but with the addition of the lots to the south, their use interfere with the residential zoning below that, do you know?
No, so they are separate and they're being reviewed by staff separately to make sure they conform to all city code. This one really, they're adding one extra lot for future development, and then some of the lot lines are just to accommodate the needs of the businesses that they're looking to locate on those. And I just wanted to make a small comment for the access easement along Lot 1. It does not impact their actual detention pond. The detention pond itself is not changing. Really, all that this would be doing is just making sure that they could get a mower to the west side of the detention pond to mow that area. So that's really the only reason they need to have that access easement on Lot 1.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Garrington.
Yes, the splitting of the lot on the east side between now 5 and 6. I don't see any way for vehicles to get into lot 6, the one that's left over. Tell me about that.
So the Lot 6 has access off of Ravenwood. It's so you have your rectangular lot there, and then the remainder, which would likely be further subdivided as needed. They can, if that does happen, then they can put an access easement through to provide for access to those lots when that gets further subdivided. But as of this time, Lot 6 would take access off of Ravenwood.
Help me out here. I'm sorry. Off of Ravenwood, it would have to go through Lot 5 or one of the other lots at the bottom, right? Or is it?
So
Lot 1 already covers all of it.
Are you talking about this right here? Or which one are you talking about?
Okay, Lot 6 is the one to the right. No, that's Lot 1.
No,
That's Lot 6. There.
this
The
is
big
lot-
one. The big one is 6.
This one, so this is completely surrounded by right-of-way. So it can take access off of Lakeview Parkway, East 52nd, or Ravenwood.
Okay.
One of the zoning conditions too that was on this property
Yeah.
is that all developable lots will not take direct access onto 53rd.
That's right.
They'll be taken from the interior roadway network.
That's what these roads.
Am I not understanding your question?
Okay. The lot in the far east, northeast corner, okay?
This one,
That big one, I think that's it, yes.
yes.
Okay. If they put a building on that lot, they would want a way for people to drive into that building. And I don't see any way other than off of 53rd, and I thought the idea was to keep people from turning off 53rd.
Yep, that would be a requirement. So that is up to future development when that occurs. It's quite a large area, and so what you're saying is if this develops, then you don't know how they would get a building there. It would be something that would be reviewed as part of the development. So say they want to put a building down here,
Yes,
they would need to provide off-street parking, so they would need to provide enough space in order to provide that access. But likely, a building would go here because it's more visible off of 53rd, and then they would put parking down here. Or it would be subdivided, and they would have to provide an access easement across the lots.
yeah,
Yep. So that would be later to be determined.
okay. The others I saw
Yep,
what the idea was, but I didn't see it for this
sure.
eastern side. It just didn't look right.
It's basically a remnant lot that's likely to be subdivided further in the future.
Are you good?
I'm good.
Thank you, Commissioner Carrington. Any additional questions? Commissioner Carrington?
I'm trying to turn this off.
Would the petitioner be in attendance? Nope. Oh, would you like to step forward and say anything? Well, do the commissioners have any questions of the petitioner? Seeing none, final call for questions? Seeing none, roll call please, Commissioner Johnson.
All right. Schneider.
Yes.
Lammers.
Yes.
Johnson, yes. Tallman abstains. Hepner.
Yes.
Bransgard.
Yes.
Reinardt is excused. Manus is excused. Garrington.
Yes.
Stelk. Motion passes.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Thank you, Commissioner Schneider. We will move on. That closes subdivision activity. We'll move on to future business. Anything?
So we don't have any future business for the December 14th meeting, so you have December off, and we will see you in January, hopefully with new business.
That sounds good. Any additional communications from anybody? No doubt. I would like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Let's all be safe. And we'll see everybody next year. Any additional thoughts? Anybody? All in favor of adjournment, signify by aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, we are adjourned. Please stay safe.